Who am I? The co-writer, creator, and producer of the comic book that is taking the world by storm, YI SOON SHIN, the true-to-life Korean warrior who fended off a massive invasion from the Japanese samurai. He never lost a single battle, and neither have I. I've been endorsed by the best, including the legendary Stan Lee himself. My partner and mentor is none other than celebrated comics creator David Anthony Kraft, who's written everything from Spider-Man and Hulk to Superman and Batman. Over the years, and with his expertise, I have honed and sharpened my skills in all arenas of publishing. My battleground is on the front lines of comic conventions near and far. I've sold over 100,000 copies around the globe, and YI SOON SHIN has now become a powerhouse with over 250,000 copies in print. I command the series that cannot be defeated in battle. I'm Onrie Kompan, and you're watching Onward with Onrie. Greetings, Victory Seekers. As we kick this week's brain-tickling episode off, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Always like and share these videos because that's the best way to let me know how I'm doing and will encourage me to make these videos even better. One of the hardest things for me this year was realizing that I had to take a step back from doing what I do best, selling YI SOON SHIN. 2020 will go down as the first year that the book that cannot be defeated in battle will not have a single sellout at a convention. During the first few months of the lockdown, that didn't really sit well with me. I tried to do everything in my power to get back on the front lines, no matter the cost. It didn't help my morale to see other creators turning to the internet and seemingly doing it so much better than I could ever hope to. Now, I can't speak for them, but I can speak for myself in the sense that I literally tried to replicate my convention presence online as much as possible, and it just isn't the same thing. Unfortunately, it's proven to be impossible for me to engage people the same way, and it didn't take me long to figure out why. First and foremost, in-person appearances at comic conventions provide a genuinely unique experience for my customers. I can make eye contact with them, give them my pitch, offer them jaw-dropping deals, shake their hands, and sign their books. And while I'm doing all this, they can see my passion and enthusiasm come through in full force. Live appearances at mass gatherings are what propel my sales forward, and it's hard to do that behind a computer screen. To make matters worse, I had to get used to the fact that my job wasn't essential, which of course made me feel unimportant. The sudden and unexpected stagnation in my sales served as a not-so-subtle reminder to just how powerless and unimportant my efforts felt. I was convinced that nothing I did mattered anymore, and that was really tough. The internet is a very different beast, and while it's possible to make a killing on there, I need to wait for specific moments to launch crowdfunding campaigns in order to maximize the benefits of what they have to offer. As of right now, if I launched a campaign, my backers would have to wait a really long time to receive their rewards, and I don't like putting them or myself in that kind of position. There came a point very recently when I started to feel so irrelevant and depressed that I realized that the only way to gain any sort of control was to completely relinquish any delusions of power and self-importance that I felt. I did this by accepting reality for what it is. This is not my year to focus on sales. Things in the world suck right now, and I might as well get used to it and start focusing on something else. Saying that I grasped this concept quickly would be a lie. It took me weeks to finally accept my fate. However, once I did, I was able to embrace an even more powerful role, that of the silent observer. I'll tell you more about it after this breathtaking trailer. So where does the power lie in being a silent observer? By giving up on the sole focus of marketing and selling and focusing on what others are doing, I become a student again, and thus am in the phase of learning, which is ultimately going to make me stronger. I believe that as a silent observer, it is now my job to pay attention to trends in comics, as well as what other creators are doing to promote themselves and their upcoming projects. I look at what they're doing right, as well as what they're doing wrong. And I've learned to accept that even though I may perceive some of their promoting tactics as wrong, that doesn't mean it's wrong to them or that it's wrong, period. Right now, I'm keeping myself even more reserved than usual and silent about anything not related to comics or optimism. I do this for my own mental fortitude. I've comfortably taken a step back from promoting and have accepted the fact that it's time to embrace my creativity. There's a lot to be gained by being a silent observer. I don't have to be envious of other creators doing what I wish I could be doing or what I feel I should be doing, because when the time is right, I'll be back at it and will be even better than I was before. But make no mistake, I'm still promoting, as you can tell, but in a way that feels right to me. Everyone is on their own journey, and no one journey is the same. Sure, there are days that I feel like I'm not doing enough and that I could be doing more, but when I get swept up in those thoughts, I have learned to understand that I'm not the only one feeling like this. Generally speaking, I feel that on most days, I'm completely unproductive and am not making progress. At first, I thought I was the only one in the world who felt this way until I spoke with other creators who told me that they feel the same way without me even needing to prompt them. So if you're feeling this way too, take it from me, you're definitely not alone. This is a strange time we're living in, and in order to gain some sort of optimism, it's important to understand that the only thing we truly have control over is ourselves. That's it. I can't control how people are going to react or think. I can't change someone's political or religious views. I also can't force myself to do something that simply can't be done. But I can always open my mind and learn. Last week I told you that I was in the process of reading comics in order to help construct my next bold endeavor. Since then, I've read a ton more. So sit back for another 60-second comic book review. Welcome to another 60-second review, folks. Do me a favor, before we get started, be sure you hit that subscribe button for me. Now, this week we got an excellent read on our list here. It is called Sarah. It is published by TKO Studios, and it is incredibly written by Garth Ennis, beautifully illustrated by Steve Epting, and magnanimously colored by Elizabeth Breitweiser. Now, I really enjoyed this book. Before I picked it up, I was coming off of something I was really bored with. And so picking this up was a really nice breath of fresh air for me. I was able to get through it in 2 sittings. To sum it up for you, Sarah is basically about a Russian sniper during World War II as part of this elite unit. And they basically go around and they kill Nazis. It's great. Basically, if you're a fan of The Punisher, imagine if The Punisher was a female sniper. This is the basic premise of this book. And what I really liked about it was Garth Ennis had a very celebrated run on The Punisher, so you got him at the wheel writing this. You got Steve Epting, who illustrated Captain America and did an incredible job of it on art. So you got a book that's really well researched by 2 guys who really know what it's like to kind of handle combat and war and stuff like that. And it's all colored really great. It's nicely lettered. It's a really well put together book. And I highly recommend you give this a shot. I have a feeling you'll like it. Last Saturday, I finally finished the first draft of my outline. I shared it with only 3 other people so far in order to get some feedback. These are people I trust, who I know will be honest and won't hold anything back. I'm not looking for any sort of sugarcoating. If I'm on the wrong track, I need to know now. But at the same time, I know that the people I'm sharing my outline with aren't there to break me down to my smallest molecule. Instead, they've been making observations and have told me where I need to focus in order to make my stories stronger. In turn, that allows me to go back and fix up what I've currently got. I've spent most of this week compiling notes and asking myself more questions about my characters to understand who they are and where their motivations lie. The answers don't always come to me right away, and so it helps to keep reading comics, even bad ones. The bad comics are actually the ones I learn the most from. And are they actually bad? Well, in my opinion, they may be, but in other people's minds, they may be great. I'm sure there are even some people out there who think my work isn't up to snuff. When I read comics, I try to pay attention to clear and consistent storytelling. But beyond that, I pay attention to whether or not I'm actually paying attention to the book as well. That's a big signal for me on whether or not the creators are doing their jobs. From a technical standpoint, I look at the sequentials and pay attention to whether or not the artist is telling a coherent story with their art. I look at the writing, and if something is underwritten, it immediately pulls me out because I have no idea what the hell is going on. On the other hand, if it's overwritten, I also get lost because I feel like the writing is doing all the heavy lifting while the art is static and almost irrelevant. The same can be said for coloring. If the tones are too dark or too bright, that can disrupt the flow. If there isn't consistency in the coloring, that opens up doors for confusing the readership. The same can be said about the lettering. How that flows determines everything, and like sound effects in your favorite blockbuster film, if it's done wrong, you're not going to be as engaged. Providing a great comics experience is finding a perfect balance between writing and art, and there is no one way to go about achieving that. There are so many techniques, and so when I see something working, I pull from it. If I see something that doesn't work, I try to process why, and may even challenge myself to figure out ways to improve it. We are all students of this craft. It is essential for us not to see one another as competition, but as teachers. In this way, we can learn from one another and continue on the adverse journey of mastering ourselves. Some pros will be kind and will openly share their secrets, while others will be closed off and abrasive. Nonetheless, you can still learn from them. You can learn what not to do. All right, my friends, thanks for tuning in. I'll let you know how things are going next week as my journey continues. And until that time comes, onward to victory. Fun is not over yet. Stay tuned for an awesome Kickstarter trailer brought to you by some very talented creators. Oh, and be sure to hit that subscribe button.